everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Immaculate and I make content from Lagos, Nigeria. I want to first of all use this opportunity to thank the publishers of this book, Lightleaf, for giving me this opportunity. So, as you all know, this is not my regular content, but we keep it 100, we keep it very spontaneous. Grab you a cup of coffee, tea, a bottle of Coke, and a big bowl of popcorn. Let's have a conversation. Okay? Okay. Now, have you ever wondered why it's so difficult for you to put your thoughts in writing? Have you ever been in a situation whereby you are having so much emotions going on, but you can't express yourself? Have you ever been to therapy? If this sounds like something you can resonate with, then this content is for you. So today I will be discussing and sharing my thoughts on this book. It's titled Winning Mental and Emotional Conflicts. You go the one that say waiting this one they talk plenty things. Okay, in a nutshell, the gist be say this is therapy. Amazing therapy. This is not the kind of content you watch and you're like, yeah, whatever. But this is the kind of book you always go back to. This is not just sit down and be glancing through and all that. But I am here to give you tips, okay? Tips on how to make do with this book, utilize it as much as possible. Enough plenty talk. Let's get to business. Okay, so I want to commend the author of this book, Chini Uju Nwokedi, for being able to put your thoughts into writing, sharing your vulnerability. That is amazing. Business time. Okay, drum roll. Ding, 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 ding. So first of all, you guys know I'm not here to play. I started reading this book, and first thing that came up for me was Delulu and Solulu. Careful. What is the meaning of that? As a reader, I can't relate to that. I have heard those words so many times, but what does it mean? Reading the book, I can't find any explanation to why those words were here. So I sent a message to somebody and I said, please, what does Delulu and Solulu mean? And it means delusional. I'm like, okay. But what has that got to do with this book? You're also wondering, Abby? Okay. Now, therapy is beautiful. But you need to be prepared mentally. We all go through this phase where we can't express ourselves. We are going through a lot, be it childhood trauma, midlife crisis, all that going on. When you open this book, there are so many things you will learn from this. That is why I said from the beginning, you can't just start reading and at the end of the day, like, yeah, I've read the book. No, you will always go back to it. And that's why here I will be sharing with you the content. So you've got the introduction, you've got part 1. It's divided into 4 parts. Now, when you grab yourself this book, you sit down and think of which content resonates with you. Whichever content resonates with you, please sit and digest everything. My first thoughts, aside from Delulu and Solulu, journaling is not for everybody. Yes, I said that. Very unconventional. I am up for, journaling. But journaling is not for everybody. Journaling is for some people. Let me calm down, relax. Let me explain that. Journaling is a very dark place to be. Not everybody can put their thoughts into words. Even me sitting down here today, I would usually, get my diary, and put out things. But just reading this book, it's been like a trigger for me. good and bad. Why? Because as humans, we don't always like to, you know, accept. We don't always like confrontation. So when you have books like this, it makes you think, it makes you look within. And you can't look within if you are not mentally ready. So because it became a trigger for me, I had to take a pause, okay? I took a lot of pause. I took a break. And I said to myself, Immaculate, take a chill pill. Understand your emotions. And one of the contents in this book titled My Emotions and I, it's a beautiful part. And I can understand why the author went heavy on journaling. It's a reinforcement for you because it sends a signal to your brain to say, oh, okay, I am now accepting this, I will change this, and you can now sit down with yourself. Because journaling is a dark place, it's not a comfortable place to be. And before you start journaling, I think that you need to understand that you need to make self-inquiry. This is something I learned during my yoga teacher's training. And it's a good thing, and the rewards are great once you sit down and look within. So now to keep making this progressive, I will look through my phone and pick out the things I want to talk about. There are people who struggle with self-conflict, the emotional part, the mental part. It doesn't come easy. And because this book is therapy, it's self-therapy, I think the author should make room for people who can journal. Some people can't write to save themselves. They can sit and talk, like when you're having a conversation with your friend or some random person, like an acquaintance. It's easier for people to do that. So if this is something that I hope in the future the author would consider it, because I feel like we should get a second book. Okay, people. Yes, I know I'm stretching it. I know. It's fine. Another thing that came up for me while reading this book is where the author said, life shouldn't be boring. I'm sorry, life should be boring. Oh yes, life should be boring. That's something I didn't agree with, because when life is boring, it saves you from a lot of plenty wahala. It saves you from being in trouble. Life being boring would make you be grounded. I understand the author wrote this book based on her experience. And for me, because I wasn't part of that experience, I'm now like a third party, going through this book. I'm like, why would this author talk about this? Why would she say life should not be boring? Life should be boring. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you away from trouble. It helps you have a routine. So moving on, I didn't agree with that. Let's talk through seeing things through the baby's eyes. There are phases in a child's life. The author talks about like making references to kids, when they're born and all that. The stages of a baby's life. First, they go through, coming out of the womb, the body changes, it starts peeling off, they experience their first fever, they go through different cycles of life. Should that be fun? No, it shouldn't be fun. It's boring, it's hectic. But the mother is there as a protector. Again, I will state, life should be boring. Not boring in the sense that, oh, you don't have a life, you can't do anything, yada, yada, yada. No, that's not what I mean. Like, you are now a full-grown adult. You should have a routine. You should have fun. I'm not excluding fun. I'm all for fun. But because we're talking about mental health, you cannot just be operating on an I don't care feeling, or you're using something to block out your emotions. No. Because if you keep doing that, when you now sit down to journal or to have a conversation with yourself, it becomes a problem. That's when you start beating yourself up for things. And it's okay if you feel that way. While reading this book, I saw a part that talked about the SWOT analysis. I say that I'm one of the people that say that no be all of us go be Jordan Peterson. You have the ethicals and you have those that are not ethicals. If you get my drift, we are not all built the same way. When you see the SWOT analysis, what are your strengths, your weaknesses, and all that stuff, as someone who is into business, there are some people who will come and say, oh, I'm like, please, I do not know what my strengths are. And I don't know what my weaknesses are until I come in contact with them. So when you think about the SWOT analysis and you think about this book, you're not wondering, how did we get to this point, right? I am not one of those people that you will put on the spot and say, what are your weaknesses? I don't tell you, I don't know what it is until I come in contact with them. But as someone who is growing, it is my duty to let myself know that, okay, I've come in contact with XYZ and I know I can't handle it. I will outsource or look for help or ask someone to, take over that thing, or even look for someone to guide me. That's where this book comes in. It's a guide. Okay. Another thing that came up was the fact that the author talked about how being raised in a Christian home, mommy made references to her size and people around her. That really resonated with me because I'm on the petite side. And a lot of people, I live in Lagos, Nigeria. I've always been here. In my society, people will see someone of my stature and they just go smally. It's like a constant battle, So this book just triggered a lot of memories for me. And when the author talked about her size and people making references to that, it's not something that goes away. It's always going to be there. People would make references like, oh, Immaculate, that's that small girl now. Meanwhile, these people, just because they are way bigger than me, I am probably 10 years older than them. But nobody wants to know that. So me resonating with what the author talked about and being from a Christian background and all that, I feel like if you're from a Christian background, you shouldn't be making references like that to your child or your children. And this is where it brings me to people in our society, our friends. Our friends will make remarks like, na play at the play. No be play. No be play. Na mind fuckery, and we don't want that. We do not want that. That is not acceptable. Why? Because it puts us in a very terrible place. People talk about childhood trauma, midlife crisis, adulting. Adulting is a scam and all that stuff. But it starts like this. Some other thing that stood out for me in this book is the fact that the author talked about self-audit. Self-audit is not one of those breeze in, breeze out. No. People talk about doing the shadow work. Before you get to the shadow work, you need to do self-inquiry. Remember, I mentioned it. You need to do self-inquiry for you to grow. Now, I personally believe that before something good comes out of an individual who is conscious, you will go through different stages of chaos. This chaos is not pretty, is bad, but you need to be willing to accept it, to embrace it, and now start putting down the things that stand out for you. The way you communicate with people, is it the way you address other people? Is it the way you allow people talk to you? Self-audit. The fun part with self-audit is you go in, That's your own space. Nobody is invading it except you give someone else the power to invade it. You look at self-audit. What are the things I eat, I drink, I wear? Colors come into play. And that's why for me, when I saw this book, it's bright, it's colorful, it's cheerful. Colors splash everywhere. You see colors like black, you see blue, you see red, green, orange. Those colors stand for different things. If you're one of those people that sort of dive into things like this, then you can now start applying it into your self-audit. Are we understanding? Good. Yes. So you look at colors. Colors come into self-audit because it actually influences our mood, our personality, the things we wear. If you go to your wardrobe today, you probably have 20% dark colors like black. You have say 2 to 3% red, blue, purple, maybe not so much of green, depending on the kind of things you're into. Adding all that into self-audit, you now find ways that it influences your mood, your day-to-day lifestyle, the things that you would normally not share out. It's like your secret thoughts, just you, God, and life. So I would read from this book, chapter 7. It says, the power of imagination. The power of imagination is very powerful tool at your disposal because it empowers you to see beyond your current reality and allow you to create a new one. If you can't imagine, yes, you might be going through stuff, but if you do not have the mindset to imagine, no matter the state you're in, you will never move from point A to point B, because all you're thinking of is, I'm so sad, I'm so miserable. See, let me tell you, 24 hours before I started filming this, I've been feeling so useless. What am I doing with my life? Where am I going? We are constantly having emotional conflict. So you ask yourself, am I capable of imagination? Yes, you are capable of imagination. For me, something that has helped me, especially picking up this book, is to think about the things I have done in the past, those things that make me happy. Once you are there mentally, trust me, it's a gateway to just navigate through, break that terrible place that you're in, and move on. It's not going to come easy. Nothing about mental health comes easy. And that's why you're in a very, cozy therapy session when nobody is invading your privacy. Another thing is insecurities. Whether we like it or not, we all have insecurities and they're very ugly. When you say ugly, ugly like charcoal, it's not good. Nobody can tell you those insecurities, but only you yourself can find out. Okay? Some people have low self-esteem, and it can just be that because, like the author, someone made reference of her size, they will call her horrible. Me, they will call me Smolly. In fact, aside from even calling you Smolly, that alone, if you focus on it, if you're not someone who stands on your ground, you start having insecurities, you start having low self-esteem. Then you now look at the fact that the society we are in would always, in fact, all societies, not just where I find myself, they make it look like the norm. It's not the norm. Don't accept that. This leads to stress management. And in this book, the author has written out tools for you to manage stress. Once we're stressed, we can't function. It's just the rule of life. You cannot function. Nothing makes sense. You're not here, you're not there, you're just everywhere. So you need to be able to find a way to quiet your mind. Like reading. Once you are able to quiet your mind, inspiration comes. You start loving yourself. And that's why I give it to this author. She has gone so big on journaling and putting out various information to help you to quiet your mind. You have like meditation, you have music, you have going to the beach, you have just sitting down, just you, quiet with your thoughts. Okay, you can listen to podcasts, you can take a walk, exercise, and just maybe even pick a new hobby, or even go back to that hobby that you always find joy in. These are the kind of things that helps you quiet your mind. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a comment in the comment section and let me know if you'd like me to do more of this from this book. Okay, let's have more discussions. And if you'd like me to have the author on here, send me your questions and I will throw it at the author. Who knows? Who knows? Remember, kindness is never enough. Put a smile on someone's face. Until next time.